our industry, the building and construction industry, the hardware industry, it really is the start of the American dream for
100%.
most people.
Anyone who's really interested in coming into this industry should know that if you have any bit of entrepreneurial spirit, if you want to, redesign or reshape your community, you can do that. If you have a business sense, you can do that. So it's like every single day we get to work with our coworkers, we get to work with great brands, but we also get to really change our community. And so if you're wanting to make an impact, you can definitely do it in this industry.
When you look at these businesses maybe that don't have a family succession planning, which a lot of these kids don't want to take them over. And the idea of that legacy either dying so it doesn't get passed on at all, or getting passed on and just stripped down to parts, it's really, really disheartening.
It is. Yeah.
But when you think about actually doing the opposite of that, taking that legacy and growing upon it, building something with the tech and the branding that you guys can put behind it, it's really cool. Welcome to the Grit Blueprint Podcast, the show for bold builders, brand leaders, and legacy makers in the construction and building industry. I'm your host, Stefanie Couch, and I've been in this industry my entire life. Whether we're breaking down what's working in sales and marketing, new advances in AI and automation, or interviewing top industry leaders, you're going to get real-world strategies to grow your business, build your brand, and lead your team. Let's get to work. Welcome to the Grit Blueprint Podcast with Stefanie Couch. Today, I'm here live in Orlando with my friend Kim Peffley. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. And you and I have a lot in common because we both grew up in the hardware store world.
Yeah.
Your family actually owned a True Value hardware store.
Correct, yeah.
And you've been through lots of different iterations. You've worked in this industry a long time doing amazing work. But right now, I think you're working for one of the most exciting companies that's out there, Nation's Best, and you're a regional vice president there. How long have you been with Nation's Best?
I joined Nation's Best in September of last year, so I'm going on about 7 months. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So let's go a little rewind to your history. Tell me a little bit about your background, your family hardware store. Where was it? I want to know everything.
Yeah, so my parents decided to invest in a local business in our community, and they weren't really sure what business they wanted to do. So they kind of did some research, and a hardware store was kind of what we decided on. And so we were very green into the industry, kind of had no real experience on it. And my mom was actually going to be the one running it. So we hit a lot of roadblocks early on when people were like, not sure if a woman could run a hardware store in the 90s. And of course it fueled our fire. So we were like, let's do that. So it was in Granger, Indiana, which is just outside of South Bend, Indiana. So around Notre Dame country. And we found a piece of property right next to a grocery store. And so we built from the ground up. So it was really exciting to be able to see the building go up brick by brick and see it get filled. And so it was a True Value store. We called it Granger True Value.
Okay.
And we were there my parents had it for 12 years. And so when I started, I was 15 and I was a nights and weekends part-time cashier. I always joked I got all the hours that nobody else wanted to work and filled the schedule wherever needed. But I'm so thankful for that. And my parents very much were like, you will work every position, you will learn everything. And I'm so thankful because I really got the opportunity to see the front side of the business and the back side. And anyone who owns a business knows every holiday, every dinner, you talk about the family business.
Yeah, there's never like a reprieve when you're, I worked for my dad's lumberyard and hardware store, and my mom always used to say that, like, can we just not talk about business? And it's like, well, this is literally a big deal in every aspect of our life. The dinner table is always about, someone who came in or some order or something. And we did a lot of weekends sending out statements, I did a lot of file sorting. That was my least favorite childhood job.
Exactly.
Well, what was your favorite job as a child in the hardware store? I'm wondering.
Yeah, so I always have been drawn to lawn and garden. Okay. So when I was on the register, I wanted to get to the sales floor. So we all have seen, everybody's like, get me out on the floor. So we did that. And then my parents expanded and built on to the store, and they added a lawn and garden center. I just wanted to run it. I just was like, let me run this building. And so they gave me the opportunity to kind of be the lawn and garden manager, which was super fun. And with that came the first real time that I not only managed an entire department, but also people.
Yeah.
And so I just absolutely fell in love with managing folks. And so we just had an incredible time out there managing that group of folks, and we grew the business significantly. And it helped me really learn about category management and obviously people management.
Do you have a green thumb?
I do. Yeah,
okay,
I do.
Well, that's handy.
Yeah, it helps a little bit. I learned so much, though. We always kind of joke that we got into the business, and if you can learn to read the labels faster than the customers, sometimes that's how quickly you learn it.
I actually hear that a lot
all
in
the time.
Business,
and then once you know.
Yeah,
so.
But there's so much new stuff coming out all the time. I just went down on the floor and demoed some new bits and some new things. And there's always so much innovation happening, which I think is also really a fun part of our business.
100%.
Because these products and the manufacturers are so innovative. My side is the door and window. I love that part of it. And they just came out with something called Smart Glass, which has actually clear glass. And then you click a button with the remote and it turns into privacy glass.
Wild.
That's such a cool thing because people, they don't want privacy all the time, but they want it when they want it. Yeah. And now you can get that. You can have both. So that's awesome.
That is awesome.
After your time at True Value, your family sold their store.
Yeah. Tell
me a little bit more about your more recent career and some of the experiences that you've had there.
Sure. Yeah. So when my parents sold the store, they sold it to a fourth generation family that ran an Ace store, and they had 7 locations. So it was a really great opportunity to go from kind of a single store to a multi-store and learn kind of some of the additional things that are available to you, right? So not only was it just a bigger dynamic and bigger opportunities, but we just were able to connect and learn so much more. So it was instantly like our network grew, and we were able to attend a lot of the ACE shows. And so I quickly became a manager of several locations and then became the general manager overseeing operations of 7 stores. And I love multi-store management. I love kind of that general manager role. And so I did that for about 25 years between the True Value store and my parents' store and the Ace stores. And then after about 25 years, I was getting a lot of questions on like, how do you do this? How do you do this? And I said, I think it might be a natural transition to kind of switch into a consulting role. And so I did a lot of consulting, and then I partnered with NHPA, the North American Hardware and Paint Association, and which was great. So I got to do really an interesting take on a position because it was kind of creating it as we went. So created the consulting division there and worked directly with retailers. So flew out to their stores and helped them, become better, more profitable businesses and work on the culture side. And then I also got to do a lot of speaking at like public trade shows and education and training. So got to visit and attend almost every market or show.
They are everywhere.
They
I see
are
them every show.
everywhere.
We were just at the National Hardware Show in Vegas.
This week.
Yeah. And it's been a busy week for both of us.
Yeah.
So you actually received an award there. So congratulations.
Thank you.
We hosted the very first ever How Women Rise in Leadership Summit for the National Hardware Show, and Build Women, my company, was able to be there and help host that and co-host it. You were an amazing woman, and we'd actually never met, so we've been LinkedIn friends, but now I feel like we've known each other our whole life. But you won the Leadership Excellence Award, so congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And I was speaking with Chris Miller, that is the CEO of Nation's Best, and he was talking about just how incredible you are. Not only just your attitude of just let's go out and do amazing new stuff and get those big ideas in, but really the fire and the energy that you bring into the room and into the organization. So you are so highly thought of in this industry. And I always love to see other amazing leaders like you, but also women that are really showing people that you can get in there and you can rock it. And you can do all the things, and you don't have to have grown up in the business.
No,
I know mentorship is really important to you. And I would love to hear just some stories about how you feel like the next generation, what should they know?
Sure.
What do you want those 20-year-old people out there that are looking for a career to see about our industry? And how do you mentor others?
Yeah, thank you so much for all of your kind words. And mentorship is so incredibly important to me because I was very fortunate to have a great deal of mentors that really cared about me as an individual and also my growth within the industry. And I tell everyone, like, I started, knowing nothing and kind of came into this. And we can teach anyone anything, but your energy and your spirit and your drive are really things that it's like, if you've got that talent, like we will do everything we can to get you there. And, in my role with Nation's Best too, it's like, we face certain challenges and we face certain things that I would have never been able to face, early in my career. And someone was very fortunate to teach me that that. So I tell people all the time, like, I will breathe confidence into you. I will believe in you. Like, you see a magic in someone or a spark in someone that they have no idea about themselves. And I always say, I'll be here to support you. And I think anyone who's really interested in coming into this industry should know that if you have any bit of entrepreneurial spirit, if you want to, redesign or reshape your community, you can do that. If you have a business sense, you can do that. So it's like every single day we get to work with our coworkers. We get to work with great brands, but we also get to really change our community. And so if you're wanting to make an impact, you can definitely do it in this industry.
I love that so much because I believe so strongly that our industry, the building and construction industry, the hardware industry, it really is the start of the American dream for most people.
Yep.
And it is obviously, getting more difficult for kids to do a lot of these, get a first time home and all those things but it is still the core of the American dream.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, when you think about what is a community, it's usually built up with people and homes.
Yes.
And all the other businesses and things that they're going in. But like you said, if someone is entrepreneurial, like I've always thought that I would own my own business, and now I'm living that dream, which is really cool. And I think if you want to open a business, home services, construction, these boring businesses, well, first of all, they're not really very boring.
No,
right?
not at all.
They're pretty action-packed. And also, there's just so much opportunity. Yeah. And there's a lot of people that will be selling their businesses and retiring soon. So if you're interested in getting into a business, I would say start asking local businesses around you. Tell me about your business. Are you open to selling? Would you sell or finance? Some of these more non-traditional paths, or someone that wants to sell could call your employer, Nation's Best. And we just spoke to Chris earlier this morning. What you guys are doing in the industry, I want to just dig in a little bit.
Sure.
So for someone who maybe has never heard of Nation's Best, doesn't know what's going on in the industry, tell me, what is the idea? What are you doing differently? Yeah. And you guys have literally been a rocket ship. So you are going to, from 2019, no Nation's Best. That didn't even exist.
Didn't exist. Yep.
And now you have 64 stores in 18 states, and you're continuing to grow. But what I love the most is that you have a long-term hold model.
Yes.
So you're not like a lot of these other companies that buy and they're ready to make more money, dump them in 3 to 5 years. You want to hold these things and grow them for the long haul. Yeah. So tell me the story of what you guys are doing.
Yeah. So I think it's an amazing story, really. And I kind of got the opportunity to watch a little bit from the outside and was like, man, what's going on over here at Nation's Best? Because there was this crossroads of time, right? So like post-COVID when, obviously a lot changed through COVID and a lot of people were kind of at this point where they either wanted to buy or they wanted to sell. And so I think the timing came together really perfectly. And Chris is incredible. He really is such an amazing leader. And he has guided this great group of folks to say, how can we make a difference in the communities? And so I think what I love most is that we're looking to help folks that would like to step out of the business, but really have worked so hard. Some of the businesses we own, we just celebrated like 90 years at Crafty Beaver and like several different brands. They want that legacy to carry on. And, we really are very big about continuing to support the community, keeping the same staff and keeping the same leadership team there as much as we possibly can and keeping the same name. So it's the main goal is to have no disruption to the community, to continue to be able to serve and keep the family legacy going on. And to me, I think what has inspired me so much is to say, I have gotten the great opportunity now working with Nation's Best to meet incredible people and incredible communities. And we bring our managers together and they tell stories about their towns. And so I think of Nation's Best as an opportunity to really continue to serve your local community, to keep your brand alive and to know that, it's a company with a great culture that takes care of its folks. So, we're really passionate about saying like, how can we make a difference today and help others?
What I love is you guys are taking the best of the big corporate structure. Yeah. You have money, you are investing in these businesses, you are taking the support of tech and all those things, but you're not big corporate.
Correct, yeah.
And so the best of both worlds really is what you're doing. And I don't see that anywhere else. I think it's a pretty unique value proposition that you're bringing. But when I think about my dad's lumberyard, my granddad's lumberyard, my uncles have a lumberyard, I think about that legacy.
Absolutely.
The word legacy means a lot to me. I think about what they worked for. And when you look at these businesses maybe that don't have a family succession planning, which a lot of these kids don't want to take them over.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have kids. Neither one of us do.
Correct.
And so if I owned my dad's lumberyard right now, what would I be looking at for the future? And the idea of that legacy either dying, so it doesn't get passed on at all, or getting passed on and just stripped down to parts.
Yeah.
It's really, really disheartening.
It is. Yeah.
But when you think about actually doing the opposite of that, taking that legacy and growing upon it, building something with the tech and the branding that you guys can put behind it, it's really cool. So I love what you're doing. I'm totally bought into the idea if you can't tell.
Yeah.
But the independent businesses, we're here at Do It Best. They are the champion of independence. You guys are partnered with them. Absolutely. And they have great products and people, and they sort of have the same mentality of, hey, how do we serve the community, serve our members? And that's what you're all about at Nation's Best. Tell me a little bit about your talent pool, because I know you're actually working. Tell me about your day-to-day. What are you doing? Because I want to know all that you're doing in your region.
Yeah. So, we're really excited about that. And I agree. It's all about legacy and making sure that we can continue to, uphold the hard work. I always say we're standing on the shoulders of greatness, right? And that there's somebody that's really carved the way for us to be able to be here. So I think of it very much so that we do have that, we kind of say corporate support. We're very much, we always call ourselves the support team because we truly believe that. And so my goal ultimately is I serve the North region. So I currently have 14 locations that start from Upper Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, and Kentucky. And so I consider my job every day is to just help support those stores and eliminate roadblocks. And so our managers are incredibly talented. They are basically the CEOs of their own stores and their own businesses. And so I just say, what can I do to support you? What can I do to help make it easier for you to do the things that you need to do every single day? I want to be the safest place for them. So we all know that we're going to run into things that happen, issues, problems, and at different, varying levels of our careers, that hits differently. So the farther you're in, you kind of have gotten a little bit better at handling those. And so I always just say, I will be your safest place to call when anything goes wrong so that you can come to me immediately. And then we have the power of the company to say, how can we resolve this? What do we need to do? And that comes from not just our internal support team, but we partner very closely, like you said, with Do It Best, all of our vendors, and everyone else that we've connected with network-wise, that we always say, we don't have to do this alone. We have power in numbers. So my day-to-day is just really serving my stores and the amazing teams and making sure that they can be successful.
I love that. How many times do you think about, I think about this a lot, 25-year-old Stefanie would have had a total meltdown if this happened. I'm almost 38. 38-year-old Stefanie is like, oh, it's Tuesday.
Just another day.
So I think that as with experience comes that. But I also think, these younger talent pools that are coming in, they're so innovative, so thoughtful. I spoke at an event with Boise State University 2 weeks ago with 9th through 12th grade girls and women, young women. And some of the questions and the ideas and the dreams they had just set me ablaze thinking about, okay, this next generation, we talk a lot of smack. The older generations always talk smack about the next generation, right? Yeah. So Gen Z is getting lauded as lazy and all these things. But I actually think that they have so much to offer us. And obviously I'm a millennial, which when I started at my corporate job after I left my dad's lumberyard, they were like, oh, millennials. And now I see these statistics about how managers want to hire millennials. They're like, we're the golden goose of all hiring
talent. It's your time to shine.
We will step into the limelight. But at the end of the day, it's funny to think about that, So what do you see in this younger generation? I know you mentor a lot of people. What excites you the most about them?
So, I love the generational conversation because I think, I'm a big study of people, right? So I'm always trying to understand and try to get a better idea. And so with the generations as they come in, every time if I hit something that I'm like, what an interesting question. And sometimes I'm like, interesting, it might be the kind way, right? So I ask a question. I think, well, gosh, I should really probably pause because if this seems different or foreign to me, it probably means I really need to lean in and understand. And I think a lot of times they're asking questions that might seem obvious to us, right? And so, when I think about that, I think, oh my goodness, here's an opportunity for me to mentor or for me to learn as well. So, I was meeting with somebody that was looking at an additional opportunity in the company, and they asked a lot of questions that I, was like, oh, that's great that you brought those up. We probably should build that into our system, and we should be more clear, and we should give more direction on what the next steps are. Because I know that when I first started, like when we didn't really know much, I wanted to be able to ask questions and be able to do that. So anytime when I talk with the next generation, I'm always just like learning as much as I can from them and saying, keep me motivated, keep me sparked, because I never want to be that person that says, no, we already tried that. No, we've already done this. And I never, ever want to be somebody who shuts down ideas. I want all sorts of innovation to be within our business and within the way that I approach leadership. So I ask questions where I'm like, that's a great question. Like, what can I ask? What sparked that? How would you like me to lead you? Because obviously we're from different generations. And what have you heard about me and my generation? And what can I learn about some things from you? So I think it's assuming that I think it's important to say it's okay to ask questions both ways. And I can guarantee you they're full of great ideas and we need them. So I'm excited.
I agree. And, it's funny because I do still think there's so much to learn from the outgoing generation as well. So, we kid a little bit sometimes like, okay, boomer. Yeah. But, I'm getting a lot of questions when I do these AI talks and I do these talks about marketing and some of the technology that's coming out. They're very intrigued. Yeah. They are ready to learn. They are sometimes more adept to change than I am, That's the thing is I think we can never count anyone out because of where they're at in their journey. And also, I think there's a lot to learn from those legacy people that we need to soak up like a sponge before they're gone. Absolutely. So it's really fun to see the 4 or 5 people generationally in the workforce now and watch how that's coming about and what's happening with those people. And I think we should just keep trying to get the most amazing new talent we can. You guys are doing training programs. You have a very cool roadmap that you're actually showing people where they can start, where they can go. I think that's the most important part. The training is the thing I think keeps me up at night. It keeps other people up at night because there isn't a lot of training in our industry and there's not a lot of succession planning. So you guys are really covering a lot of bases there. I want to talk a little bit more about, we talked a lot about work. Sure. Yep. We both have another thing in common. We're obsessed with our dogs. Absolutely. So I have a golden retriever named Heidi Pearl, and you have also another female dog with 2 names. So Lula Jane is your miniature dachshund. Miniature dachshund. Yep. And tell me a little bit about what you and your husband, I actually got to meet him at the NHS show. Tell me about your day-to-day at home and what that's like for you. Sure. Yeah. So we were very fortunate about 10 years ago to be able to buy my husband's grandmother's house. And so she lived on a lake. And so she bought the property in the 40s. They went by horseback in the 50s horseback in the 40s to find the property. So we're the second owners of the home. So we love to be at home, so especially because I travel so much. So Lula Jane, who's our little, adopted wiener dog, and my husband, we love to just be at home and be on the water and we ice fish. We fish in the regular season. We go pontooning. We love to just be out on the water or in the garden and just spend as much quality time together as we can. And I think it's so fun that, we just all love to be there. My dachshund, traditionally, because they're kind of longer dogs, they don't swim so well, but she's like actually a really good swimmer. Wow. So she's swimming around in the lake and having a good time. And we are all floating around and just relaxing. And it's so important, I think, when you work as hard as you do, and you the same, like you're one of the hardest working people I've ever met in my life. And when you have to say at a certain point, you need to pause, reflect, unplug, turn the phone down. Most things can wait. And so I think for me, we love being on the water because we literally put our phones down and say, let's go out on the lake and just take some time. It can wait a little bit. It's magical. It is, yeah. There's something, there's like a psychology around being around water and all of that. I think there really is something to that. And I'll put it out into the universe because I have a dream similar to yours. Yeah. There's a lake near our house. It's called Lake Rabun. There's also another one called Lake Burton. We live really close to a great little town in North Georgia. And my dream and Ben's dream, we want to have a little farm / lake area house. Same thing. I mean, we work really hard, like you said. There is a lot of going and a lot of shows. We've now been traveling for 7 days straight. Yeah, easily. Yeah. I don't even know what day it is. I think it's Sunday. But I think you're doing this for a reason. Absolutely. And when you get home to be able to turn off and just be home. And then also, I want to talk a little bit about, and this is a total just interesting topic to me. Your husband obviously is very supportive. So is mine. He's in the business with me. Your husband works at Notre Dame, which is a super cool job. And what does it mean to have a spouse that is pretty ride or die for you.
No question.
Allows you to be exactly who you are
Yep.
and supports that, because I saw that with him last week. What does that mean to you? And how important do you think it is to choose the partner or the spouse that you end up being with in life to your success? How important is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been I'll probably get emotional. One of the most important things to me, like my husband absolutely means everything to me.
Yeah.
Sorry. I know I couldn't do what I'm doing today without him.
Yeah.
And it's such a unique thing. And you know this really well, being a woman in the industry, that it feels like you're always fighting against something.
Yeah.
You're like, I can prove myself. I can help you in this department.
Yes.
I can run a business. I can
Right.
do these things. And my husband is 1,000% behind me. He's always like, no, you, and he really lifts me up, or like if I start to beat myself down, he's like, you have no idea. You have no idea. And it's, it's I travel quite a bit. I'm on the road quite a bit, as you are as well. And so it just to know that he has my back completely, has full support. And I think, a lot of times people look at things maybe from traditional, historically how things are. And the same, we don't have children. And so it's changed kind of the direction that we've gone. And we're incredibly close. And so he just every single day supports me in everything that I do, both internally and externally, and I'm forever thankful for him.
Yeah.
So I said, always look for somebody that really is always rooting for you and thinks about you, being successful. And he will eliminate a roadblock or anything for me in any way that he can. So I think he's like my favorite human in the whole world.
Yeah,
no question.
The same for me.
Yeah.
I can't. We've been married almost 18 years now.
That's amazing.
And we're ride or die for each other. And
100%.
That's the thing I say a lot. We have this business together. We're married, obviously. People are like, don't you get tired of each other?
Never.
I was like, how could he ever get tired of me? It's not possible.
Yeah.
But it's really true. It's like we are going to war together every day to try to win and live the life we want to live. We have big dreams. And I think it's the most important decision you make in your life.
I agree. 100%.
And it can actually allow you to either go so much more exponentially greater than you would, or it can actually tether you down.
Absolutely.
So I'm very grateful. And I think I didn't realize how important it was until we started this business together, because it's really hard some days.
It is.
And like you said, you do feel like you're fighting against the tide. And when you have someone pushing behind you that's never going to let you fall back, it's pretty positive stuff.
Yeah. And it's, it's amazing. I think about it too. Like I met my husband when I was in my 20s. And so we had our 20s together. We had our 30s together. We have our 40s together. He's now in his 50s. And so it's like that when you're, decade after decade, get to continue to be a cheerleader for that person you care the most about and see them really transition and live their dreams. So it's like, I know your dreams to live on the water as well too. And it's like, we wrote that dream down and we said, in 3 years, we will be on the water. And we said, we are committed to this. And it's the same thing. He knew my dream was to continue to grow in the industry. And he just, it's the same thing. In my 20s, 30s, and 40s, he supported me in every way he could. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wanted to touch on that, writing down your dreams, because I do that every single day. I talked a little bit about that in NHS, my wants list, but I want you to talk about some of that. What power it has to know where you're going.
Absolutely.
Because you're a very driven person. You've obviously accomplished a lot in your career. I know you're not finished yet.
Yeah.
So what is the power of that? And then how do you tell young people that you're mentoring and even people mid-career that maybe feel like they've hit a snag, they're not sure how they're going to get to where they want to go? What do you say to people in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important to know where your long-term goal is and then break it down a little bit, because I'm all about small victories, right? I think sometimes people make a goal, which is great to have this big goal, but it's to say, where could I be in 3 months, 6 months, a year. And so I'm really good about saying, this is my vision, and then this is where I want to get to. A really good friend of mine gave me some advice that says, anytime you get someone that sends you like an email or a compliment or something that's like, you really helped me in this way, is like, take a little snapshot, put it in a little folder icon on your desk, and just on those hard days, remind yourself what you're doing. One of my big goals has always been to support future women or women in the industry, and just to do what they can, and not just in our industry, but really anywhere. So I'm really passionate about sharing what I do. And so, even if it means stepping into the hard and like being uncomfortable, like I'm totally fine with that, because I just want everybody to know, like, this is where I've been successful, but I can make it look like just the highlight show. And so I like to share, like, everything that I make a mistake, I tend to share those as well. So every new employee that I get the opportunity to mentor, anyone that I mentor in or outside of work, I always say, you are the version of you today. And I was like, but you're going to be great. And I'm going to help you get there, and be like, just so you know that I make mistakes every single day and I face challenges, but I'm going to get back up and I'm going to keep on trying. And I'm 100% okay with making mistakes because I will learn from them. And I always say, I call them opportunities and I'm thankful for them. And so I really just wanted everyone to know that no matter where you are, no matter what mistake you make, it's completely fine. It's not career ending. This isn't school where there's like a permanent record, which I don't think there was ever really a permanent record. Like you can let it all go, like shake it all off, and just know that, you know, your career will be whatever you want it to be. And when you start, it was interesting when I did a lot of presenting, it's like you have to be able to kind of, and you did as well, so you have to be able to, in a short order, say kind of, this is what you do. And when you have to pause and sit back and look on your career in that way, it's really just a collection of a lot of little moments. And I tell everyone that. I was like, sometimes you flip the coin one way, sometimes you flip it the other, but I promise that even though you're sitting in hard now, you will be so thankful for it. And if you're sitting in hard, I always say, look around, because you're here to learn something.
Absolutely. Some of my worst moments in my life, my career, have actually ended up preparing me or either teaching me something that I absolutely had to have in the next step or down the road. And I didn't, it's hard to see that when you're in the muck.
Hard.
Like when you're in the muck, you're drowning and you feel like this is the worst day of your life. It really is hard to feel that way. But if you can look at it that way, and then another saying that I really love, and this is one of my mentors, a business mentor, Alex Hermosi, I watch him a lot on his content. He says this: it's no silver bullets, only golden BBs. And I think that you really think in your life, like, if I can just get this one thing, if I can just get to this, or, you know, as a speaker, as a business owner, if I can just speak here, if I can just get this contract, or if I can just get this title. But the truth is that it's almost never that moment. It's all the little things that go into that then make you allowed to do well in that job. Or it's all the little moments that will come after that will get you to the next thing. Silver bullets don't exist, only golden BBs.
I love it.
And so I try to remember that. I also try to remember that to take pressure off of the situation. You know, if you have we'll use a speaking engagement because people are terrified by those. If you have something, an opportunity that you are actually out in front and you're not sure if you're ready, take it.
Yes, take it.
Because if 100%. You don't, it might not come back again. But if you do and it's not perfect, it still will allow you to do the next one and the next one. And I think a lot of times people get so caught up in, well, what if I don't do it perfectly? You won't.
Yes, correct.
Ever.
You will not.
So guarantee
no one hit it off. You know, no one was perfect the first time.
No. And that's the cool part about life, is that all you have to do is just try and take action, and you'll probably get some really good fruit from it. And if not, you'll get a good lesson.
Yeah. I remember when I started doing speaking engagements, and just even being asked, I was so like, oh my goodness, of course I'd be honored. And it was, you know, I remember the very first room, and it was like 20 people, and I was like blown away. I was like, I can't believe 20 people are in here. And then, you know, as they continue to grow, all of a sudden you're like, oh my goodness, this is really something. But I was like, I would have never been able to do, you know, I got to be the general session for True Value a couple of years ago. And it was really amazing. It was kind of the last thing on one of my bucket lists and things. I was like, I need to redo the bucket list. But I said, I would have never been able to do that had I not done this, and this.
Right.
And I think so many times that you forget is, like, even in the room where it was the 20 folks, which I was blown away, there was 5 retailers in that room that I still continue to network with to this day, and really care about their businesses. And every single time you put yourself out there, it's completely worth it. I say, if you're not stepping into the hard every single day or trying something that makes you a little bit uncomfortable, then you're probably not growing. And so I continue to challenge myself in that way. Sometimes at the end of the day, I'm like, ooh, you really stepped into the hard today. maybe one step back tomorrow, but it's worth it.
Let's figure that out for next week. Give a little break. And you know, that's the thing, is that I think we continue to do that because we know the fruit that comes from that if you do. But you also have to give yourself grace. So I love that.
So much,
Well, you are an incredible woman. I want to know what gets you up in the morning, what's exciting to you right now that you're doing in your career, and what's next for Kim.
So thank you. And I think you are an amazing person as well. And I'm so thankful for you and our friendship.
Thank you.
You know, what gets me up in the morning is I love the people that I work with. I literally love them with like everything that I have. And so every single day I'm like, let's go, let's get after this. And I can't wait to connect with them and talk with them and see how they're doing. And, I just think if I can just continue to bring energy and bring positivity for them and help them and support them, I know they'll be successful, and I want to see them live their dreams. And so I think what's next for me is to just continue to see how I can mentor others. And I really want to go back more now and touch base and thank more people, because I think that we don't go back enough to thank the people that have really had an impact. So I've been trying kind of go and really just reach out to people. I'm writing more letters. I'm trying to be more reflective on my career. And then I think the big next push for me is just to really continue to find ways and eliminate roadblocks for future leaders, future women leaders to get into this business and say, what can I do today to ensure that 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that there's more and more people that are standing on those stages and collecting awards and leading stores and growing this industry, because I truly believe that we're the future of it. And so that's my big next thing is eliminate the roadblocks and make it easy for women to be successful in the industry.
Well, you are a trailblazer, and I have no doubt that you're going to be successful in that. And I hope I'm right there alongside you, just pushing together. So I love it.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on the Grit Blueprint. It's been an amazing conversation, and I'm not sure what trade show we'll see each other at again, but I know it will be soon.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm incredibly honored to be here, and it's just such an honor to know you as well too. Thank you for everything you're doing. You are really changing the direction for women in this industry and everyone, I believe. So thank you so much.
I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. That's it for this episode of the Grit Blueprint podcast. For more tools, training, and industry content, make sure to subscribe here and follow me on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. To find out more about how Grit Blueprint can help you grow your business, check us out at our website, gritblueprint.com.